sudden death double overtime at Franklin Field in Philadelphia. Paul Murphy to face off for the Princeton Tigers.
And I think as the game goes on, you're going to see Paul Murphy not taking as many faceoffs. Jason Buttles will be spelling him because Tierney wants Murphy to play a little bit of offense.
Andy Pusha was out for Syracuse, and the ball was taken down by Tor Morrow. Now we'll look at Princeton on offense for the first time, and we'll try to set the defensive matchups for you. There's an unforced error, and a ball that is heading toward the sidelines. It does not make it out of bounds. Pat Kugovan has it for the orange-shirted Orange Man. Here they come upfield with Rick Beardsley, the speedy defenseman.
Well, the first pass went to Scott Conklin, the guy who really doesn't have any experience in pressure games like this, and he just didn't handle it. Took his eyes off it.
This is Charlie Lockwood now, signaling for his defensive man to move across midfield and bring another short stick on. Lockwood likes to go to his left. He goes right, fires it wide, backed up by Jamie Archer.
This midfield has Pusha, Lockwood, and Barr. That trio, two seniors, and Lockwood, the junior, first-team All-America.
Barr doesn't get a lot of publicity, but
well, don't say that.
Close to unstoppable.
Yeah,
here
don't
he is
say
with
that
the
to
ball.
the coaches, because the coaches know exactly what this guy's made of, and Tierney fears this man, John Barr. Most coaches do. He is a very capable player.
Here he is, isolated outside. Barr slipping and losing, and the takeaway. And back come the Princeton Tigers. Andy Hubbard feeding down into the box. They go behind.
Hubbard playing the short stick on that defensive midfield unit of Higgins, Murphy, and Hubbard. Now this time they go back and they pass it to Lowe, who has the experience in the big games. He very quietly controls it, and they set up their offense. Already you can see the patience of the offense. The tempo slows down.
There's Scott Reinhardt, who comes from Syracuse, West Genesee High School graduate. That's a very prominent name in the sport from the Syracuse, Central New York area.
The challenge for Syracuse, one of the challenges will be to not get too excited about this slowdown in tempo, not to go out and push for possession and cause mistakes that would break down the defense and give tough shots on Saran.
Tormaro with it, sending back behind, and here is the patience as Kevin Lowe controls against Rick Beardsley.
Beardsley regarded as the best defenseman on the Syracuse team, only a sophomore, but tremendously talented.
Well, we're 2 minutes into the game. Hasn't really been a scoring opportunity yet.
Syracuse is going to take some time off the clock. Crowd booing a little bit.
Andy Pusha matched up there with Tormaro. He starts his move. His shot is deflected wide. Lost on the far side by Lowe and stays in bounds. Reggie Thorpe, number 10, is digging. Beardsley has it. He did have it. And Syracuse now has the ground ball. Kugovan overshooting his man at the midfield. Bettinger will try to get there, and this is a swipe attempt. So Syracuse is yet to carry the ball across on offense.
Everybody on the edge of their seat here, the thousands that have come to watch this matchup, because they expect, even though Princeton wants to slow the tempo down, Bill Tierney likes to take a little air out of the ball. They expect a fast transition game at times. Both of these teams can handle the ball well, and both of them are very fast. Right now, they're both feeling themselves out like a heavyweight fighter might do, and they're just taking them time to get comfortable with the field and the game conditions. Mike
Doyle is on in the short stick midfield now. Ball on the far side, defended by Chad Smith. Princeton has had a couple of shots, none even coming close to the cage, being minded by Chris Saran.
You'll see the referee wave his arm. That box defined by the dotted lines and the line to the right of the goal. It's 20 yards from the goal mouth. That box, 40 by 40 it turns out to be, is the goal area, and you've got to keep the ball in there. If you take it out of the box like they are now, you'll have 10 seconds to get it back in and continue the offense.
Scott Conklin with it. He gave it up. And now Don McDonough. There's a flag and a delayed call going against Syracuse. They get it back to McDonough. He shoots. Saved by Chris Saran. And now we'll get the assessment of the penalty against Syracuse. And the Orangemen will be a man down here in the first quarter with no score.
I think it's going to be a push on Wittick. Wittick plays the defensive short stick, and there it is right there, the shove. You can get equal pressure. Normally that wasn't a blow that would give you a penalty because the Princeton player was sort of jumping up to make the pass. It looked rougher than it was, and they got the benefit of it.
Now the extra man opportunity. Syracuse has killed off only 23% of the opposing extra man opportunities have resulted in goals. And pressure applied. Beardsley helps on the takeaway, and here come the Orangemen in transition. Now if they get it into the box, the penalty will be released.
This is where they like to shoot.
And taking it in all the way and misfiring at the last minute was Chad Smith. But the Orangemen will keep it.
Well, that has to help them get relaxed, because that's what the Syracuse Orangemen love, the transition play. And Smith had a chance to really get the game off to a good start for Syracuse.
He's had 4 goals on the year. Now the Orange in the settle offense. A slot is open, and Syracuse pays the price. And Bacigalupo and Ryder get into it.
Well, Higgins came over on the slide, but Dave, they were out of position. They really weren't set up right. And Syracuse had a chance to get a hard shot. Higgins knew he was out of position, or somebody was. Higgins, number 25, made the slide, and he gets the penalty. It looks like they may have gotten an additional penalty because of some mouthing off down there.
Yeah, flag was thrown. I think it was just one official tossing it to the other and put back in his pocket.
Now watch, this man's wide open. Here comes Higgins sliding in at the last minute. He took the penalty because he knew that was going to be an open shot by Dom Finn. Now Bacigalupo comes out and makes a wild swing. The bottom line to all that is that it's a 6-on-5 extra man play for Syracuse.
Todd Higgins off for the push. Syracuse with Archer behind. Archer, a one-hand catch. Bettinger, he goes to the left hand. Passes across. Archer again, the dealer from behind. Archer being pressured back there by Nick Lane. Who will score first? Lockwood fakes right, looks left, fires, in and out. Hit the pipe and came out. Princeton's going to get it.
Pipe shot really saved him. And now Princeton will get the ball out of bounds. Paul Murphy will bring it in.
Syracuse sends on Hans Schmidt. Out of your picture now. He's at the midfield area. Easy to spot with a big knee brace. In the meantime, you're looking at Paul Murphy facing a ride. Archer will come back against Bacigalupo. And now they get it to the midfield area, and a blindside hit knocks the glove right off the Princeton player. And Syracuse's Mike Doyle picks it up. He's got Orangemen to his left and right. And he slows down.
Syracuse very patient in timing their opportunities as far as hits, slides, and aggressive defense. That's a very good idea for them to do, Dave, because they get themselves in trouble with aggression against a team of this caliber.
Now Matt Ryder will hold to allow some short sticks to come on. Ryder behind. Reverse shot. Change of direction. The cage is open. Ryder's in pursuit. Bacigalupo's out of there, and he can't find a man to feed. Now Archer. Nobody comes down the slot for Syracuse. Archer doubled. Archer in front, saved Bacigalupo. Not a great shot.
Triple team. Higgins came in there at the last minute. They had 3 long sticks against them. Princeton getting away with a triple team. Syracuse has to move the ball.
Tormaro gets it down. Played nicely off the turf on the short hop by Charlie Herrick. Second midfield on for Princeton. They go way outside the box again. Well, we have played over 6 minutes, and there is no score. So this is a Princeton-style game.
No question about it. Single digits favors this team.
Mark Fietta is on defending now for Syracuse. Back outside with it is Scott Reinhardt. Reinhardt got the step, and the ball rolls in.
Reinhardt's considered their best midfielder. He has a fractured leg, missed a bunch of games, but he came back for the playoffs and is making a big impact.
So the Syracuse native scores against the hometown team. Princeton 1, Syracuse nothing. We're back after this.
The way to not win in tennis is to think too much about your opponent. Because in tennis, you don't just play the opponent. You've got to play the ball. It's how you play the ball that determines whether your shot is in or out. Whether the point is won or lost. Play the ball better than your opponent, and you'll play winning tennis. Now, you can play the ball and win with this double offer from Tennis Magazine. You'll receive a free half-hour video by Tennis Magazine instruction editor Vic Braden, plus a full year, 12 issues of Tennis Magazine. Call this number now and change the way you play tennis. What a combination. The How to Play Winning Tennis with Vic Braden video, plus the magazine that brings more instruction to more tennis players than any other.
Call 800-522-5333 for a full year of Tennis Magazine, plus this free video, just $13.77. Call 800-522-5333 now.
Back with you live at Byrd Stadium. Dave Cohen and Leif Elsmo. The NCAA Division I semifinal game. Princeton gets on the board first.
Scott Reinhardt from West Genesee, right outside of Syracuse, comes down and shows his speed. When he is right, he might be the fastest guy on the field, and gets the first goal of the game against Saran. Just plain speed, beating the defensive midfielder. They cleared out for him, and a great way to start the game. Patience for Princeton. They took their spots and get the first goal.
Bill Tierney told us he hasn't lost any speed or agility or lateral movement. It's just conditioning. That's a factor for Reinhardt, who had a broken leg in midseason.
That's the head coach talking. I talked to some other people on the team, and they think he's about 85%, which would only be logical because he really hasn't had the time for conditioning. So even at 85%, this kid is darn fast and a big, big addition to the offense.
Lowe has it now for Princeton. Checked away from him, but can Syracuse come up with it with a big stick? They do for the moment. Now Beardsley behind his back. There's the flash of Syracuse right in front. Very dangerously. A Princeton man stepped in the crease.
That play typifies the all-around play of Rick Beardsley. He'll do the most spectacular play for you to get the ball, and then because he is so much of a great athlete, he'll do one of these and just drive a coach nuts. Flips it over, almost gives it away, and gives up an easy goal after making a sensational takeaway play from Kevin Lowe, one of the best in the business.
Reggie Thorpe just got that pass away as he was checked from behind.
Thorpe playing close defense. They like to use him as a long stick, but really they want to keep him on the field with Kogovan, Beardsley, Chad Smith. Those four guys they'll try to keep on the field. Those four long sticks.
John Barr has it now, and he sends behind to Archer. Last year, Princeton shut out Syracuse in the first quarter, and that was a streak of about 39 games or so since anyone had done that. And Princeton appears to be doing it again. Midway through the first quarter, they lead it 1-0. Here comes Murphy running away from Barr for the moment. Barr's got his stick stuck between the arm. Princeton working from behind.
Now, Coach Tierney for Princeton has a lot of defensive packages. We'll try to keep up with them for you, but they slide from all different areas, and they will confuse an offense, and I'm sure they're having a little bit of confusion effect upon the Syracuse offense right now.
There was a flag thrown in the crease area. Away from the ball, it's against Syracuse.
Bill Tierney, and here, of course, Roy Simmons. Roy Simmons makes everybody else in these semifinals, coaching-wise, look like a rookie. He has been here so many times and has such tremendous success over the years.
He won it in '83 with a tremendous come-from-behind win against Johns Hopkins. Then 3 times in a row in the late '80s, early '90s. Here's the extra man opportunity. Reinhardt again.
That's just speed. We talk about the patience of Princeton, but we keep emphasizing the speed. And nobody exemplifies the speed of this team more than Scott Reinhardt. Saran is getting one-on-one shots. Watch this quick move to the right. The slide came too fast to stay with him, and now he's right in front of the 6x6. He's got the full 36 square feet to shoot at and bounces it past Saran. Saran hasn't had much of a chance to make saves on the 2 shots by Reinhardt. Big goal for Scott Reinhardt, who again just came back from a leg injury just weeks ago.
Bob Fazy out on the face. Murphy's going to get to it for Princeton. Finn and Ryder double teamed him. Now Morrow having trouble picking it up. Fazy was there. It was off his stick. Princeton ball.
Morrow did a smart thing. He couldn't get the ground ball. He waited till the player picked it up and then checked it out of bounds, giving possession back to him and the Tigers.
Bill Tierney on the sideline. They put in a rule after last year. They call it the Tierney rule, that restricts coaches to a designated area on the sideline, and no longer during a timeout can a coach go on the field. The team has to come off the field to talk to him.
Bill says he thinks it's a good rule, and he'll be proud to have it named after him.
There's Brian Tomeo reversing his field and giving it up to Tor Morrow. 2-0 Princeton. Morrow gets the step on Doyle, coming back the other way to try the left hand, smothered. And now Syracuse
That
in
shot's going to be
transition.
trouble, and Dave, here comes the transition they love. This might get them uncorked.
And then again, it might not.
The team definitely looks tight. I'm telling you, Syracuse looks a little tight. As the game goes on, this could become a serious problem for them. They need to loosen up and get into their offense. This team does not do well when they have to stand around and think too much. Not that they can't think, it's just that they are a reaction team, a transition team, a thoroughbred running gun team. And when you sit and get into a cerebral game, they are out of their element.
Jeff Schuessler overshot his intended receiver there, Chad Smith. There's Bacigalupo out of the cage. Nick Lane, crossfield. Ryder is trying to intercept. It's over his head. He stays onside. And here comes Princeton. 2-goal deficit is manageable. 3 goals could be tough, especially when you're not generating much.
Big save for Saran. When you give him a chance, he'll make it.
Princeton gave it up on the sideline as Thorpe went 1 against 2. Pretty good diving effort there on the sideline by John Burstein from Denver, Colorado.
One nice thing about the roster here as we look at Saran, the roster of Princeton, is that they represent the country and the growth of lacrosse so beautifully. They've got players on there from Colorado. They've got some players on there from Michigan. Morrow, the best defenseman in the country considered, is from Troy, Michigan.
Florida as well. Now here's Saran on a journey up near the midfield line. Don Finn had a chance to win the game last year in overtime. Normally a great finisher. Now behind, Archer feeds in front. Syracuse can't put a stick on it. It was Roy Colsey missing. And back to play it is Mark Fietta.
You just get the feeling, Dave, that Syracuse is trying to figure out the defense of Princeton, and that's what Tierney wants them to do.
Hard shot. Roy Simmons talked earlier in the week about maybe putting some shots on Bacigalupo from outside if they pack that zone in, but it doesn't look like a zone now.
No, the big problem they're going to present for Syracuse is their slide package. They have a lot of different slide packages. You don't know where they're coming from. They're aggressive slides, but if you don't know where they're coming from, it's hard to take advantage of them.
Archer's pass was into a crowd and taken away by Princeton. And now here they come back with Hubbard.
I'll tell you, if I'm Roy Simmons, I'm thinking to get my team on track, this is where it starts, on this end of the field. Number 3, Roy Colsey or Don Finn, get them the ball down here and let them start a full-length run of the field and get that transition game going.
Well, right now we're watching history repeat itself. 4 minutes to go in the first quarter, and Syracuse has not scored.
I think last year was a little bit different, though, because they came out in an explosive fashion. Princeton scored a lot of goals and a lot of running early on and then slowed it down.
We have an offside called at the midfield stripe against Princeton.
It might have been a substitution area, the box area, where a player stepped off.
Fietta shoots and scores. Mark Fietta puts Syracuse on the board. It's 2-1 Princeton. Perhaps Bacigalupo wasn't expecting that shot right then and there from that man, but it's a 2-1 game, and we're coming back right after this.
College can be a bridge to the future. It's a place where you're free to express yourself. A time to find out what you're really capable of. But when testing your limits involves alcohol, when breaking away includes drinking and driving, when expressing yourself includes losing control, the lessons you learn in college may not help you get anywhere at all.
You have to be quick. You have to be smart. You need a clear head. You think I can do this on drugs? No way. Respect yourself. Don't do drugs.
If you or someone you know needs help or information concerning drug abuse, call this toll-free number, 1-800-662-HELP. This message provided by the NCAA.
Syracuse is on the board, getting a goal from an unlikely man, Mark Fietta.
Mark Fietta normally just carries the luggage for Colsey and Finn, but this time he gets open, takes a shot, his 10th goal of the season. Just shows you that this team can't be focused on. You don't know where the offense is going to come from. Big goal for them to get him on the board, because that 2-goal to a 3-goal lead for Princeton would have been very, very tough to overcome, only because they slowed the ball down so beautifully.
So it's a 2-1 game, and Andy Pucia out to take the face again for Syracuse against Paul Murphy. Pucia wins it. Syracuse can score in a matter of seconds after winning a face-off, and here's Pucia coming back. Lockwood has it.
Coach Tierney talked about Fuchsia. They're going to have to defense him differently than most because he likes to pick it up quickly and make the transition play right away. So he wants to defense him as a breakaway faceoff man.
Matt Ryder is not on right now for Syracuse. There's Lockwood trying to draw the double team, or Barr that is. And Barr fires and he scores. John Barr, and there is Ryder backing up. John Barr has tied this game up at 2-2. And now you might expect to see a little difference in the Syracuse team.
Well, I tell you what, you notice where both of those shots came from? Look at the shadows of the players. The sun at this time of day is becoming a big problem, and it's coming right over the shoulder from the shot. And that's what's hurting, I think, Bacigalupo. It's the worst place to be for a goalie at this time of day. Take nothing from Syracuse, but they're playing that beautifully by shooting out of the sun, and John Barr's got a great one. Little nifty move to the left. Now he accelerates. He's got a step on his defense, and shooting out of the sun makes it very tough for Bacigalupo.
After the face, Princeton won it, but a great wrap check knocked it free for the Orangemen, who now seem to be playing with a little bit of extra confidence. We have a call as Syracuse went into the box, and we have a timeout taken by Syracuse. I think possessions are so valuable in a game like this. Roy Simmons wants to make sure. Chance to go up early in the game on Princeton. Timeout with 2:58 remaining in the first quarter. Well, we know that a lot of groups from around the country are enjoying this lacrosse game in places like Portland, Oregon, Houston, Texas, and Tampa, Florida. We'd like to hear from all of you folks who are watching today's action. So tell us where you're watching. Drop us a line. Care of NCAA Lacrosse, 6201 College Boulevard, Overland Park, Kansas.
Dave, you ought to give him some reason, like give him a free dinner with you or something. If you send in a letter, call up Dave at his home up around the Syracuse area, and he'll take you to dinner.
There's the Princeton Tiger Band.
Well, those two goals, especially the second one, John Barr against Bacigalupo, good crowd here. Couldn't be any better weather-wise, and everybody's taking advantage of it. But John Barr shoots out of the sun. Again, that's not a demeaning comment. This guy is a very talented player, but I think Bacigalupo makes at least one of those saves in those last two shots if he doesn't have the effect of the sun in his eyes. Very smart play by Syracuse, and they're going to be a lot more comfortable now playing with a tie game.
Casey Donegan, who wears #1, the smallest of the Orangemen, is on now.
That could have been the reason also that Princeton was holding the ball maybe more than they might have, just to try to get the sun, get their goal.
Lockwood fires and he scores. A screen shot as they beat Bacigalupo. Lockwood popped off, went behind the screen.
And 3 shots in a row from that same spot with the sun over your shoulder. Lockwood this time plants himself over there, sun's over his shoulder, and a nice hard shot beats Bacigalupo. Barr to Lockwood, and the left-handed shot does its job.
Making goals while the sun shines.
I'll bet you in the last 2 years, I bet you there haven't been any games where 3 shots turned into 3 goals against Scott Bacigalupo.
Certainly not as quickly as that. Now the face again. Bob Fazy out for the Orangemen. Run down and redirected, and a jumping stop made by Bacigalupo. That was a pass back to him to get the team started.